Hey guys, welcome to another Hunter video. I'm a Night Elf Hunter on the Whisperwind server. Draenei Hunter on the Whisperwind server, and this is the 5th part of my Hunter leveling guide. Now, in this guide, I am going to talk about the skills that you learn from level 15 to level 20, and as well as the kind of stats that you need to gear for as you're leveling up to 80. Now, a hunter, when they start out, has to use leather, but at level 40, they'll learn how to use mail. And from then on, you should only use mail because of the higher armor. And armor, in turn, also helps your pet in how much health they have. Now, some of the stats you need, just looking through my armor stats, you need, the most important is agility. And after agility, you want to gear for attack power and stamina, and also armor, because while a hunter levels, their biggest benefit is how strong their pet is and how many monsters or hits that they can tank, so that you can just stand back and shoot. And so that being said, the most important, again, are agility, attack power, armor, and also stamina. Some other stats that you should also aim for is intellect, while after you get careful aim, which turns all intellect into attack power, critical strike, armor penetration, haste, and all the other attack ones, and also hit rating. But the ones that are not useful to you as a hunter are strength and spirit. Try to stay away from those stats as much as possible because they give you little to no benefit. And so here are some of the skills that you will learn from level 15 to level 20 as a hunter. Aspect of the cheetah. Now this allows you to run faster, but also with some side effects, so I'll explain more of that later. Aspect of the hawk, which is just an upgrade. Aspect of the viper, which is a very interesting skill, and it should be used very wisely as well, and I'll explain more about that, as well as a macro to help you manage between aspect of the viper and aspect of the hawk. Mend pet, which is just an upgrade. Dual wielding, which is a little complicated in terms of what you need to do when you dual wield and when you don't dual wield, and I'll go into that also. Multi-shot, a great skill which you'll be using until you're rating at level 80. And Serpent Sting, which is just an upgrade, as well as Arcane Shot, which is an upgrade, which I've explained in my previous videos. And now we've gone into traps. Immolation Trap, and we also have Freezing Trap. These two traps you can use in your arsenal, and they will be great help to you, as well as some of the newer traps that you get later on as well. Track Undead, Disengage, which is a very important skill for you to use as a hunter, and I'll of course go into that. And Freezing Trap, which is your first and one of your very few CC abilities or crowd control abilities while leveling. And so the first skill I'm going to go over is Aspect of the Cheetah. Now this aspect allows you to run 30% faster. However, if you get hit, whether by a melee, spell, or ranged hit, then you will be dazed for about 3 seconds, and you will run a lot slower, about 50% slower than your usual speed. And so because of this, I would really recommend not to use this at all during combat, and only use it while you want to get to a very short distance just a little bit faster. And the next skill I'm going to explain is multi-shot. And as you see there, I just shot 2 enemies at once. And the way multi-shot works is it works in a cone kind of zone. So if you are close to the enemy, then the enemies you'll hit with multi-shot, which is up to 3 enemies, will not be as wide. However, if you're far enough away, then that means the enemies could be further apart from each other, yet still be hit by your multi-shot. And multi-shot costs 10-second cooldown, and so remember to use it wisely. And if you have a bear, you're gonna be able to multi-tank very easily, and so multi-shot will be very crucial to your leveling process. The next skill I'm going to go over is Disengage, and Disengage is going to be one of your most powerful spells until you stop raiding or stop playing your hunter. Now, as you saw, disengage just sends you flying backwards. Now, you can choose the direction by pressing down on your right mouse button and turning your character's direction, so you can choose which way you can disengage into. And you can use this for ways such as escaping an enemy or getting yourself closer to a certain object. You can only use disengage while in combat, and that is the biggest drawback. And also, disengage only works once you are in the air. So let's say you're facing against a slight uphill, like I was just at, then you're not going to go as far. And if you are facing away from a downhill, then you'll go a lot further. And also, you can use disengage while you are jumping to get further ahead or further away from where you are disengaging from. And you can also use it while in the air, so that if you are about to take fall damage, then you could avoid that with disengage. And now let's talk about traps. I just set down an immolation trap. And immolation trap is a dot damage. And so sometimes if an enemy is chasing you and your pet is already occupied, then you can use an immolation trap to set a dot damage along with, let's say, a serpent sting and a few arcane shots to take the enemy down while kiting them. And immolation trap will only last for 30 seconds, and it has a 30-second cooldown. So unfortunately, you can't chain trap somebody like you used to be able to do, but it's still a great skill. Now, time for freezing trap. Freezing trap, like I said, is one of your few crowd control skills while leveling up. Now, freezing trap will freeze an enemy for about 20 seconds or so, and a frozen enemy cannot attack, but you can't attack it either, because once you attack it, they will be released from their frozen trap, and they will start attacking you again. And this is useful for if you are overwhelmed by many enemies, and you need to just take one out of the equation so that you can finish off the other ones quickly enough. And this will also help you if you are trying to tame a beast, because you could set a trap, start taming a beast, and while they run towards you, they will be frozen. And for the entire duration of them being frozen, you can tame a beast without any opposition from the beast because they're not moving. And this could work great for once you want to tame, let's say, a Devilsaur, which fears you every so often and will break any spell casting, thus wasting all your mana. Now, as I promised, I am going to explain when you should use dual wielding and when you should not. Now, as you're leveling, you could use dual wielding as much as you like. However, just know this. A hunter's melee weapons, whether it's a single two-handed weapon or two single-handed weapons, they are only used as stat sticks. So they should be only used to increase your agility, your stamina, your attack power, whatever. And you shouldn't, as a hunter, be meleeing anything. However, with that being said, once you're level 80, you need less hit rating for a two-handed weapon rather than two single-handed weapons. And that could be useful as, let's say, a mob or another character charges you and forces you into melee range, and you have to use things like wing clip in order to slow them and disengage away or run away. And while you have two single-handed weapons, you need more hit rating, and so you might miss the character that you're trying to hit or you're trying to slow. And that's where a single two-handed weapon will be better than a dual-wielding single-handed weapon. Alright, now let's go on to the next skill. Aspect of the Viper. You use this when you're almost out of mana, or like I am right now, completely out of mana. Now, Aspect of the Viper has two functions. One, it increases your mana over time by 4% of your max mana, and also it increases your mana every time you shoot. And so that means every shot you hit with the enemy, then you get more mana back. And that also applies for multi-shot. And usually if you're out of mana, one multi-shot on 3 separate mobs will get you more mana back. However, with Aspect of the Viper on, it means that you will do 50% less damage than you usually would. Also, you're missing the attack power benefits from, let's say, Aspect of the Hawk. And so you need to switch out of it once you have enough mana. And so on my website, I'll have a macro in which you could switch between Aspect of the Viper and Aspect of the Hawk in one single key. And so that's it for this Hunter leveling guide, and as well as the Hunter leveling guide series. From now on, I will, instead of talking about each skill as you learn them level by level, I will talk about the skill as a whole, such as Feign Death, Misdirect, Deterrence, and many other skills. And so I hope you keep tuned, and thank you very much for watching. That's it for this video, and take care. Till next time. Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe, because if you subscribe, then you'll be able to find out how to squirrel!